the experiment with positive results. It happened, and he's convinced that, remember the Nazi Bell device worked the same way, the counter-rotational spinning fields? Because of he's visited the experiment of Boyd Bushman and got the same results. He's writing, I'm very excited, positive results. He definitely knows that the Nazi Bell was real. This excites me because when you get confirmation over and over and over again that if you do this experiment this way, you're going to get the same results. But I believe it's not just the counter-rotating fields slamming against each other. If the differential between them is in a harmonic, it'll do a lot more than just anti-gravity. So my whole fascination with UFOs is, it's funny because I'm almost more fascinated how we can advance in aviation and space technology than I am of meeting the extraterrestrials and finding out who they are and chatting with them. I just want to be able to do this ourselves. So, and William Alec is an associate of John Hutchison, so this is very exciting news that just came in because Bill was attending the UFO Congress where I showed the differential theory in the Boyd Bushman experiment. So we have confirmation. It really works. This is so exciting.
Let's go to the phones. Let's pick it up by going to, who's up next? Kentucky we go. Christopher, east of the Rockies. Hi, Christopher.
Yes, hello, George.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to speak with both of you tonight. I have a question for David. As far as Tesla's work, if he had advanced even further with the death ray, which it turned out that it didn't work very well to the public, and it was more or less abolished. But as far as if he took it the next step with harmonics, it could be a potential death ray, couldn't it?
Well, to tell you the truth, I know for a fact that the death ray became ultra-classified and did work, and according to Boyd Bushman, it was the weapon used to shoot down the Roswell flying saucer, and he testifies to that. The death ray, according to Tesla in the FBI released files under FOIA, could melt an aircraft engine from 200 miles away. And in those FBI files, there's a story of a United Airlines pilot in San Francisco who encountered static coming over his whole airplane with passengers, and it just dropped out of the sky and into the bay. And unfortunately, it's a very horrible story because it shows that the early explorers of the death ray did not even believe it would work, and they probably pointed it at any old airplane, and it caused a very devastating result. So we know that it worked, and now they're much further on that most highly secure weapon, and I've had that confirmed, but I don't really like talking about it that much.
Could I have one more answer to a question?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. As far as the harmonics and everything, it can reach, well, most any frequency, if you want to say, to disrupt the molecular structure of any material.
Well, I mean, you're talking about destructive forces. I mean, the harmonic codes are precisely that. Harmonies wouldn't destroy anything, but a disharmony could definitely do a lot of damage. I mean, once you know the harmonic code of something, you could figure out, the disharmony that could cause a lot of chaos. But, these things are already being done, and I believe there are ET races that use these kind of weapons, and we have them. And it's kind of a Star Wars, event that's occurring. And I've hypothesized that what if ETs have their eyes on Earth and they see that we're destroying the planet and they're going to fight each other over who gets it next? I don't know, but those things, destructive forces don't interest me that much. I'm more interested in the positive side of all of this.
Didn't Reich believe that Orgon was much like what you've been talking about in the universe, and he wanted to be able to pull that down for energy as well?
Well, yeah, Reich, I mean, we know our friend Trevor James Constable used the Reichian tube generators to make it rain, and after a severe drought in Asia for months and months and months, he flew an airplane with the Reichian tubes, and it poured buckets of rain. So, once again, as I was saying earlier, that water has a particular harmonic code. And the difference between a frequency, this is beyond frequency. This is, a harmonic code is a set of 2 or 3 or more frequencies that relate to each other in a perfect harmony as opposed to a disharmony. So you think of like music. Music is multiple frequencies blending together to produce a symphony or the Beatles. And then, of course, you could have a really, bad-sounding band. And it's really interesting, when Masaru Emoto does experiments with water, and you would see, bad sound vibrations would produce chaos in the architecture of water, but harmonious sounds, and the sound of the sun is the ultimate harmony, restructures water, and the beauty and symmetry of the crystalline structures is beyond anything, I've ever seen.
Good point.
So that's the point, that chaotic waveforms would disrupt, systems.
Let's go to Cokeville, Wyoming, west of the Rockies. Jim, you're on with David Sarita.
All right. Well, thank you, George. I appreciate your show, and I really love what you do. It kind of makes my night every night.
Absolutely.
So, anyway, here just a while back, I've emailed you and also Linda Howe, and about this object that I've seen and whatnot. And I had a question for David. As far as your observation of UFOs and your theory of counter rotation. Now, do you consider that a counter rotation of 180 degrees one way and 180 degrees the other, or is it a 360 back and forth?
Well, it's 360, but they're not the same diameter. The counter-rotational waves, and the difference between their diameters, again, can't just be any old difference. It has to be in a harmonic code. If it's not, it will probably not do very much. So you think of the Nazi bell and the counter-rotational fields, and you think of Boyd Bushman's counter-rotational spinning electromagnets that produced anti-gravity. It has to be in code, and it's not that hard to figure out the codes.
Okay, that was my main question, because I've kind of put it through my mind a couple times, and either one of them made sense, other than the old round and round theory, the circular thing, and because we don't know, we know that doesn't fly unless it's hurled, so that was my main question, and.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, let's go next to Tia in Boise, Idaho, on a wild card line. Hi, Tia.
Hi, thanks.
Sure thing.
It's a great show, you guys. It's a wonderful show.
He's a genius, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. It's really incredible. It's just like opening up your mind to all sorts of things. But listen, the thing I wanted to first, I wanted to make a statement and then just a real quick question. Everything that I touch, if I wear watches, they'll quit working. Clocks in my home quit working. Touched my television the other night and I blew it out. It quit working. All sorts of things like that. Computers, they'll stop working when I get near them. I don't really know why that happens, but does what you're talking about affect humans? And if so, kind of how, and maybe what would some of that be?
Well, first thing, a person like you, I had that happen to an earlier, girlfriend I had when I was really young. She would destroy all kinds of electrical equipment. First thing I would do is I would test your body voltage on the surface of your fingertips to see, how much current you have in your body. But also, some people just seem to produce certain fields that just seem to disrupt electrical equipment. But one thing it tells you for sure, we are electrical, and at the Heart Math Institute, they've actually measured that the heart produces an electromagnetic field that can be measured 3 feet away from the human body. And the heart field is much stronger than the brain. In fact, it's apparently 60 times stronger. So when you consider that, it might, and you consider that all of the satellites, all of the radio broadcasts, all of it is electromagnetism, and that heart disease has increased since we've had more and more of these hundreds of satellites broadcasting all day long. Your heart field might be interacting with the magnetic fields of these instruments and just disrupting them because they're out of phase with each other. They're kind of producing chaos against each other. That would be my best guess, but you would have to be tested.
Okay, next up, John in Los Angeles on our wild card line. Hey, John, go ahead.
Hi, George. Hi, is it David?
David, it is.
I was curious to know if he's familiar with the writings of Terence McKenna and when he's spoken about the South American shamans that have magical